What's up, everyone? Welcome to the latest episode of the Cortado Pause, the podcast where I talk to former high-level athletes, or honestly, guests that I want to have on about sports, life after sports, life during sports, and we just talk about anything and just conversate over a cortado that they make and I rate. Today, I'm super excited to have on the podcast someone that I recently met who I think will have such an interesting and unique story and a lot of knowledge to share. We have Max Powers on the podcast today. Happy to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talk sports, talk fitness. It's my jam.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be cool because yes, we've had like one conversation that was like maybe 10, 15 minutes, but we've never really sat down and had a conversation. We recently just met, so this is gonna be cool. It's the first time that I have a guest that I don't really have like prior relationship with, so it's gonna be cool.
Cool. I'm ready for it. Are you?
I'm ready for it. But before we do anything, we gotta take the cortado pause.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, Max, so you've never made a cortado before, right?
No.
So
I'm even a rookie in coffee making at all, period.
Do you drink coffee?
Rarely, maybe twice a week, 3 times.
Okay, so this is gonna be funny. Let's see how you do. You said you know how to use the machine.
Yeah, that's the simplest machine
It's just
ever.
a button,
a
few buttons. But it's all about the ratios here, so.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm hoping for a little bit guidance.
I'm gonna guide you just a little bit, but not too much.
So here.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Yeah, click that. Let's put the cup here so that it goes somewhere. You can start
and I wait
heating
for
up.
this there or just...
Yeah, you can start heating up the milk. So just click it. Now it's gonna be cold, wait. We want it to be hot. There we go. Now it's just gonna froth. You don't have to do anything.
Barista Max.
Usually we have like, we don't have like the actual industrial machine where you actually have to froth the milk yourself, so.
Oh, I've done that in the past.
Maybe we have to convince Adam to get it one day.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. He loves coffee. Especially
Let's
if
click this one
end up
again.
doing more.
Adam likes coffee, do you know if he does?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think him and his girlfriend are into it.
But do you drink tea or something, or? Oh, here we go.
Actually, most of the time I drink espresso, allongé. This is pretty much how I drink it.
Okay, so you do drink?
Yeah.
3-4 times a week?
Yeah, especially on the weekends.
So you want to low-key stop it when it gets halfway, so maybe...
And I'll just stop?
Yeah, just click it, yeah. That's good. Let's prepare the other one. There we go. You're getting it?
Yeah, it's the ratio, eh?
It's all in the, honestly, it's literally all in the ratio. And the milk. There's gonna be a key component of the milk that key information that I'm gonna not tell you, and we're gonna see if you do or not.
Do not tell me.
Because it's low-key an important factor in cortados. So now the milk's ready, all you gotta do is pour in the milk now.
I want this one to be yours. I think it's gonna be better.
Okay.
But then
Let's see.
I also know that technically it's just the mousse, no?
Is it?
I think so. Or mostly the mousse.
You should have studied, bro. You should have studied.
I didn't study. I did not. Oh man, I feel the pressure of being judged now.
Either way, like, it's all depends on how it tastes. So it could look poor.
See, this one has no mousse.
Okay, so which one are you gonna give me? The one with the mousse?
Yeah.
Okay, you give me the one with the mousse?
Yeah. I feel that cortado is supposed to have mousse.
Alright. Just to tell you quick.
This is shit.
It's not supposed to have mousse.
Oh really?
So you gave yourself the better one. But I'm gonna try this one.
I'm willing to trade with you.
No. I'm gonna try this one because this is the one you wanted to give me.
Okay. So there's supposed to be no mousse.
Yeah. It's very minimal mousse. So it's almost supposed to look basically like this.
Okay, remember it.
Okay, let's go try it now. Alright, so you made the decision of giving me the frothy one, but it's okay because yours looks good. Have you ever tried one before?
Probably, but I didn't pay attention.
Alright, you want to try it?
Yeah, go on.
Alright, cheers.
Cheers. How do you say salute?
Salud. First of all, what do you think?
I mean, like I told you before, I like my espresso allongé, and I kind of don't dislike the milky flavor.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, as I set it down, maybe tomorrow, because I think I'm going to take a coffee tomorrow, because it's Saturday tomorrow, that I might, just switch it up and take a cortado.
Switch it up.
Yeah.
I'll put you on.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
It's basically like, it just cuts the bitterness of the espresso. So yours, honestly, like, yes, you put the froth, but it tastes good. And I hate to say that it tastes good, like, and if I have to put it on a scale, like, it's not the best one that my guest made, because I had a guest that worked at Olympico and he worked at cafes and he made it very well. Yeah. But I'm sorry to say to my girlfriend who made it yesterday that yours is actually better for some reason. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe you added just a little bit more coffee than she did, so it's a little bit stronger, which I like.
Okay, cool.
So besides the presentation-wise, it honestly tastes good.
Yeah.
So good job.
I'm happy because I consider myself a complete newbie in coffee making. So
yeah. I mean, you just have to click a few buttons. The real test is when we get you on an industrial machine with the frother and.
Yeah, maybe that's an opening for part 2.
Yeah. Next time we have you on, we'll do that. So now let's just forget the cortado a little bit. We'll sip on it throughout the conversation, but let's get into talking about Max Powers and where your story begins. Because I know a little bit about it. I know you were a football player. At University de Montréal, right? Yeah. Are you black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
And you've been a trainer for a long time now.
Yeah.
And I think your story is really cool. So I just want you to take it back to the beginning where your athletic journey began.
I mean, we could take it as far back as like my youth. I mean, like my first sport ever, I know that you're into soccer, was soccer. I played a little bit of soccer in Montreal. And then after soccer, and just one of the reasons I went to soccer is because I was always kind of a bigger guy. I would get fouls. So through different situations, I ended up playing football, where I played at Sun Youth, which is still in Montreal. Then I played at Cégep de Montréal, and eventually at University de Montréal. And after my football career, I maybe had 2-3 years like of nothing, and then I found jiu-jitsu because I went on a trip to Brazil. And then jiu-jitsu is my new love, and that's really where I spend actually right now most of my athletic time is doing jiu-jitsu and just training myself in general. That's the short story.
I want you to dive a little bit more into your football career, and especially your time at University de Montréal, because I've never spoken to an American football player yet.
Okay.
So I think it's kind of cool because I don't know much about what it's like to play U Sports for American football. Mm-hmm. So maybe just explain your experience there.
Okay, so I could go a little deeper, but I'll take it just a step back. Like just before university, I played at Cégep de Montréal, which was really like kind of the big dynasty. When I was playing, when I entered the team, they won the championship, and then I spent 4 years or 4 seasons with the team. And we lost only like 2 games over the 4-year span. So it was really like maybe the best team at that time. And it was so competitive that for us, most of the time, and any guys that play with me would say that the practice was like harder than the games because the level was so high. We had a lot of guys that were sitting on the bench that could probably be starters in other teams. So it was a very memorable time for me. And also, when I went to University de Montréal, it was the University de Montréal was just starting their football team. So I think it was the second year that I came in, and unfortunately, that's where kind of my athletic career started to break off because I wasn't dressed for the first game, so I didn't show enough to be able to play on the first game. But the second game, I really did my best to be part of the team, and I actually got an opportunity to wear the jersey. But the Friday of what we call the walkthrough, so we're not even in full equipment, we're just walking through the place. I tear my ACL. This
is your first season?
Yeah. Oh. And it was a real bummer. It was probably my hardest physical injury because I had other injuries in football. And so it took me off for that season. I played a little bit the season after. I didn't touch the field much because I was a different player. I would say not only physically, but mentally as well. I wasn't as hungry. And I don't know if you had any big injuries, but anybody that has a big injury, sometimes you like, it's not like phantom injuries, but like you're like scared, you know, you're not as
aggressive as you once were,
and stuff like that. So I was never the same player as I was before the injury, and that's a little bit the story about University de Montréal. It was a great experience nonetheless. I have a lot of friends, a lot of good memories there. It's also like a different environment, university versus Cégep.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Also the installations, like the stadiums, and we talked a little bit earlier about like getting treated and stuff like that was a lot more professional, although it wasn't actually professional yet. And it was close. It was close to get it to really, I don't know, set myself as a university level. But honestly, like sadly, I don't like to admit it, but I didn't play that much on university level. But I made the team for 1 or 2 years. Yeah.
What position were you?
I played linebacker, but there's a subtle difference between Cégep ball and university ball, because for most people that are aware about American football and Canadian football, there's 3 downs, so you have 3 tries to do the 10 yards. In American football, you have 4 tries to get the 10 yards. In Cégep, we play 4 down, although we play Canadian rules, the same amount of players, the same size of the field, but we play 4 down. In University de Montréal, in the university level, you play 3 down to get ready for the CFL, and same amount of players, same size field, but it makes it so that there's more passing. So the players, because there's more passing, the players are a little smaller, a little faster. So that's why, although I played as a DB or strong safety in Cégep, I played linebacker, outside linebacker in University de Montréal.
All right, so you were there to just crack and tackle people.
Bro, like I love soccer. I like to say that soccer is the most beautiful sport.
Yeah.
Because I played it. Unfortunately, I kind of don't know why I'm not playing it just with friends. Is more. I do play sometimes. But football, it's war, man. It's war with a helmet and shoulder pads, and it's very intense, and it's exhilarating, and it's crazy. Like when it's ready, set, hut, and the ball is live. We call it live. It's like you should be scared, but you don't have time to be scared because you have a job to do. You have to represent. But it's a crazy feeling, man. And being linebacker, you're just behind the biggest guys, and the biggest guy a lot of time are coming at you, so you don't touch the guy with the ball. It's a crazy thing, like having a 300-pound madman coming at you. I was also bigger. I'm around 200 pounds now. I was like 220 back then.
And honestly, it takes a lot of work, because when I was at San Diego State, they had a football team.
Yeah.
Like at University of Vermont, we didn't have one, but at San Diego State we did. And like they had practice like every day, walking through film. Like they were, every time like I would be like getting treatment, they'd be coming in and out, practicing for 3 hours, recovery. I'm like, damn, like these guys are just like football is not just on the field. Like they have to be in film, they have meetings, they have this, they have that. They have a whole like army of people that like work for them.
It's
from
nuts.
like water boys to 10 ATs. It's crazy how.
Like I didn't have the chance to go to the States, but just from being a fan of the sport when I was playing mostly, I know a lot about it. And in the States, it's easy to have a team of 100 players or very close to that. And then you have staff, like you're saying, and then you have a coach for every position, and then you have a coach for defense, you have a coach for offense, you have video guys, you have guys that just for videos, you have the athletic therapists and stuff. It's mad. And you know, like in America, like you've tasted, it's the game, right? On the weekends, it's like religion.
Everybody's going it's crazy.
It's crazy. Like I've been to a couple games down there when I was like trying to get recruited there. It's a crazy vibe. It's really like war mixed with like religion, because really everybody like are rooting for their team, almost like they'll be rooting for their gods. It's a very intense vibe.
When you were playing, did you have the goal of playing professionally, or were you playing because you just really enjoyed the game? Like,
correct me if I'm wrong, because I know that the podcast idea is like to talk about like guys that wanted to go pro or something like that. And honestly, to answer your question, is a definite yes.
Yeah.
I didn't see myself doing anything else than being a professional athlete. I want to say until I was 35, but then, you know, I stopped playing at, I don't know, 24. Mm-hmm. So there's a moment where, like, as a trainer, I'm a little bit in denial. I'm coaching people. I'm not really sincerely aspiring, playing, and going back to the game. But my identity is like an athlete, you know. And yes, since I was a kid, bro, even as a soccer youth, I didn't really push it that hard in soccer. But as soon as I was in cleats, whether football cleats or soccer cleats, in shorts, that's me, man. Like movement and fitness, it's and even to this day that I'm, you know, lucid enough to understand that I won't make it as a professional athlete. It's always been the goal, and I would be lying if I don't wish it.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, you still are an athlete. You're black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so in a sense, that's kind of professional.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a great way for me, you know, admitting that it's a big part of my identity to be like a pro athlete, to recycle myself into the martial arts, because martial arts, and it's a little bit like that for me, it's a way of life in the sense that you guys probably know GSP, and he talks about it a lot. Like, it's just like, I'm not only a martial artist on the mats or when I do a competition, I'm a martial artist every time. And just to talk about jiu-jitsu a little bit, it's like, jiu-jitsu is probably one of my best self-improvement tool. Really helped my psychology, because if we, you know, jump back and forth between jiu-jitsu and football. When I played football, because I said it was so intense and you have 300-pound guys and you have a helmet, it's so violent, you have to be like a little delusional. You have to really be super confident about who you are. And when I say delusional, you have to be like, okay, although I'm 225 or whatever, if the guy is 300 pounds, I'm gonna smash him. And I'm gonna, you know, put all my energy into taking him down so I don't get taken down. But when I started to do jiu-jitsu, I got humbled by some guys that were smaller than me, with more technique, more experience, more composure. So it was really a good self-improvement tool, like I said. And yeah, and I believe like a lot of who I am now has been really transformed by my jiu-jitsu experience.
Would you say jiu-jitsu was kind of that thing you push yourself towards after football to help ease that transition? Because for me, transitioning from trying to be a professional soccer player to like now coaching, and I still haven't fully let go of trying to be a soccer player. I don't have like any other thing that I do like Brazilian jiu-jitsu to kind of like get my mind off of it.
Yeah.
So would you say that Brazilian jiu-jitsu was kind of like a tool for you to ease that? I wouldn't say ease that transition, but just like something that you did use to kind of transition away from football.
100%. Like as simple as just like that physicality that was missing. Because, you know, like I said, when I started football, I would get fouls because I would, you know, bump people too much. And then in football, I remember when I was a kid, I think it was my first or second game as a defensive player, I was running after the quarterback. I hit the quarterback, boom, and he didn't see me very hard. And in my mind, I was like, I had the feeling of like, I'm gonna get a yellow card.
Yeah.
Because soccer was or a red card.
Like that.
Because soccer was my first sport. Or I was gonna get yelled at my coach, like, or the other team that you did a bad job. And then I come back to the bench and my coach's like, good job. And I smack the guy. It's okay. Like, finally. You know?
Finally, I could do what I want.
Exactly. So it was really not necessarily healthy, but a way to express my physicality to its full expression, and then be validated for it. So then after that was done, the football experience, definitely jiu-jitsu was a way to express that physicality. And it also kind of gives you another goal, so like some sort of purpose, some sort of mission. And especially that jiu-jitsu has ranks, you know, you have this belt, that belt, and then eventually the black belt. It gives you like something to aim at. And I think that's the transition. The transition is like, okay, I'm not gonna play soccer as a pro, I'm not gonna play football as a pro. Why the hell do I, can we say fuck?
Yeah, we could say fuck.
Why the fuck do I wake up, you know? Why would I hit the gym if I don't have nothing to prove on the next game? And when we say hit the gym, it's not only hit the gym, but why should I be healthy? Why should I eat like, you know, my veggies? Let me just eat pizza.
Yeah.
So why do I wake up? Where's my purpose? Where's my passion now? So definitely like the martial arts way of life really helped me transition all that energy, because as sportsmen, you know, we have, I want to say, above average energy. So it it was a great way for me to transition, and also because, like I said, the martial way is, there's like an emotional thing that's also present in other sport, but you have to control your emotion when you do martial arts. If you get angry, you get knocked out.
Yeah.
Or you get choked. So it really helped me a lot in, again, my personal development, and again, mostly that physicality part of myself, which takes a big part of my being.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that, like you said, martial arts is something that you wake up every day and you're like, I'm gonna eat well, I'm gonna train because I want to be better at that one thing. And I think it's cool that you have that outlet. And I hope I find an outlet like that. And maybe it's still gonna be soccer, but not at the highest level, you know? But I think for me, well, just to preface for everyone, me and Max met here at Circuit 16.
Show up, yeah.
He's a trainer here, and I'm slowly becoming a trainer here every now and then. And just like, he's a seasoned trainer. I have a lot to learn from you. But this is how we met, and I think training and still being fit for when I train people is kind of like why I still focus on my eating, why I always make it mandatory for me to train every day, why I still work on my mobility, because how can I preach like mobility to a soccer player if I can't touch my toes?
Yeah.
I need to be able to do those movements. So maybe that's kind of my outlet for that. But I think it's cool how jiu-jitsu is that outlet for you.
Yeah, and if I could share something, it's also like both of us, you being a high-level soccer player and me being a football guy or a jiu-jitsu guy, some of our skills are like God-given, you know, which is God-given, you know, fast or whatever. But as I became a coach, and which you yourself are as well, is you want to be like a coach that's just not like, I'm not just gifted, right? I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I know that I need to squat like this, or lunge like that, or press like this, or press like that. So that when we encounter people that are like, yo, I want to be strong like you, we're not just like, oh, it's God-given, you can't.
Yeah.
There is actually tips, you know, you could sprint, you could do this, you could do that, and we have actually like knowledge of how to develop the body or to enhance our body. And I think that's another thing that helped me, you know, stay on the health track is being a coach, which I started almost at this, probably exactly the same time I became a coach. So that trajectory was like kind of the same time, my jiu-jitsu career and my coaching career. So, and it also became a passion. If I could share a little story, one of my girlfriends at the time, who I was
Girlfriends?
Yeah.
You had multiple?
No, my girlfriend. Over my life, yes. But one of my girlfriend at the time, we used to work together, you know, and we had long days at the gym, and then I would come back at the gym and then like spend another hour or two on YouTube researching what's the best squat technique or the best squat progressions. Like, she's like, what are you doing? Like, we worked 8-9 hours, like, chill out.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, it's the passion. This is just, and it's part of that. It's just, I don't want to tell people squat more just by squatting more. No, place your feet like that, engage your core. I really had a passion for sports in general, but really also a passion for coaching, which I'm pretty sure you have, where you want to really see people win. And that makes me think of something. You know how sometimes, how do we transition after our own, you know, plateau of being a pro or not? Is that, can we inspire people so they have wins and we could, you know, taste or share a little bit of that win? And I think that's another way. If ever there's a coach or a guy like us that's looking for a way to transition, is that, okay, I can't score goals anymore, but maybe I could help you score more goals.
Yeah, it's cool. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. So did you always have a passion for coaching? Did you know, like, when you were a player, you're like, oh, maybe I have a passion for coaching? Or did you were just like, one day I'm going to try coaching, and
it's funny, I'm
then
going
you found it?
Answer that in a weird way. It's like, I had that physicality, but I was a little bit of a troublemaker in football for getting fouls. Sorry, in soccer for getting fouls. But even in football, I was like a temper guy, you know. I'm not that guy anymore. But I've always been like a fiery guy. So, but I've always been like a team player or like a team motivator. So I want to answer your question by saying yes. Like, even with my teammates, even if it was just motivation-wise, like, yeah, you can do it. You're tired, but yeah, you can do it. You know, if we just give you 10% more, we're gonna win the game. So I was always like that, and it also brings something to my mind. A long not a long time ago, but maybe a couple years ago, I was talking to my mom, and she said something about, I remember you way back, you're playing soccer. And it was like a critical moment. I think it was a free kick or something. And then you went to talk to the guy that was going to do the free kick, and you put his hand on his shoulder, and you said something. And as soon as you step away, my mom said that she knew the guy was going to score because the way you kind of lit the fire under his ass, she knew that like he got it, and then he shot the goal, and we won. So again, I want to say that something in me vibrates coach, even as a player. I've always been a guy that was not necessarily like a technical coach, but even in football, I was one of the guys that when we had the huddle, and it was time to do like the rally or the yell, the cri d'équipe, I don't know how to say it in English. I was one of that guy to really like scream loud, and it's part of my being as well. A motivator, definitely.
That is cool. As for like, I could relate to that a little bit because I was always I ended up being captain at a lot of teams that I played at, and in parts, like I never wanted to actually be captain, but it just would be not thrusted upon me, but I was a guy that very much led by example, but not like in your case, like vocally. I wasn't like the big voice in the locker room. But once I got to university and I got to be like more of an upperclassman, it was expected of me to be more vocal and give those speeches. And I think it's something that I thought I was never going to be good at, but I think I kind of grew into it, and I was able to motivate guys on my team before games. And for example, my senior year, I broke my foot in the first game. Yeah. And so like I missed a big chunk of the season. And the only way I could really help the team before games was to give my pregame speech. And I would really like focus before games. I'm like, okay, this is the way I'm going to help my team win. I'm going to give them a speech that's going to motivate them, to inspire them to try and go out there and win a game. And that's when I figured and I practiced to be able to be like a motivator. And I think that kind of translate into me being more open and having those skills when I train people.
Yeah, but I want to, like, again, we don't know each other very well yet, but I want to share something that you have like a calm presence and I almost want to say like a subtle intensity. It's not, you're not like looking someone in the eye or something, or you're not like growling or anything. And also your voice has a nice tone that I would easily see a coach be like, he's the guy. And also, like you said, you probably like if you led by example, that's another add-on to be qualified as a captain. But I could see you doing that. You have a deep voice, you're calm, and then I'm pretty sure somehow, and also I've seen you train. I know I could push you. So the led by example part, I just realized that I could see it coming, and it's also something's nice, and you probably relate to that as a coach. From time to time, you coach people, and you like these guys that you don't have to coach. You just have to tell them this is the workout. Yeah. And then for some reason, they're fighting someone, or they're fighting the weights. They're just doing the work, and with the right attitude, it's really lovely to see. And it's as somebody that sees himself as a motivator, it's awesome to see people that don't need your motivation. It's very cool, but then it just makes you want to motivate them to get even higher than where they are at.
Push them just a little bit more. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about, so the first time I came to train at Circuit 16 when you were the trainer, I noticed instantly from the warm up and like the movements you made people do that you were into a certain type of fitness that is, I would say, kind of trending right now. In a kind of like a holistic, primal way to move your body. And I want you to kind of expand more on that, because I remember right after that session, I was like, oh, like you're into, I don't know if it's like the fascia and that type of stuff, but I kind of want to get into that a little bit because I'm super interested about it. And I think people like have asked me questions about it, and I don't know much about it. I try my best to answer questions, but I think your knowledge would be greatly appreciated to be shared a little bit. So
about that, I mean, I could talk probably an hour nonstop, so feel free to jump in and out. But it just correlates with the jiu-jitsu thing first, because jiu-jitsu is a different sport, right? You know, obviously there's a difference between soccer and football, but both of them you're on your feet, you're running. Soccer, you're kicking the ball. Football, you're catching the ball, but you're basically on 2 feet. Jiu-jitsu, you're on the floor most of the time. The goal is to take your opponent down and then control him and then submit him. So the idea of being flowy, or what I like to call primal movements, and primal because it's a little bit animalistic. It's also primal in the sense that babies, before they can walk, they crawl. So the crawling motion is a primal motion. And jiu-jitsu really made me understand the importance of mobility, right? So because, like I said, I got humbled by some guys when I started jiu-jitsu. I was 200 pounds, maybe 215, started to lose a little bit of weight because I wasn't pushing as much in the gym, not eating as much to stay heavy because you need to be heavy in football. So I'm on the floor on jiu-jitsu, and sometimes I'm doing movements with guys that are lighter than me, and like I'm kind of stuck, right? Because I'm just so jacked that I can't scratch my head, or not scratch my head, but like remove my arm from his entanglement because I'm too stiff. So the mobility part of it was really like, okay, I need to move better, not necessarily stronger or faster or more explosive. So that primal movement stuff, the ground movement flow was really like a game changer or paradigm shift in my mind of what does it mean to be stronger. Because, okay, I could bench 3 plates, I could squat 4 plates, but I'm getting submitted by a guy that's 150 pounds.
Yeah.
So, and that's also why jiu-jitsu is so like addictive, is that if you get tapped, right? If you have to tap to end the game because you would be choked out or your arm would get hurt, you know that in real life, like the guy would have broken your arm, the guy would have made you pass out. So it stays in your mind when you want to figure out the strategic part of jiu-jitsu. You're like, man, I could have died. Nobody kills themselves, but martial art has like serious effect. That's there in all contact sports, but a little bit more present in martial arts. So the primal movement made me think about moving my body with more mobility. And then I think when you mentioned like the thing that are trending and the fascia stuff is mostly what I call the 3D maps, or it's something I learned doing a certification, like the stepping and the stretching, which is part of like the idea that we need to work rotations, because in most gyms, okay, you do squats, you do lunge, maybe sometimes you'll do a side lunge, but it's rare, except maybe the Russian twist, you know, that you work your rotation. So the rotation is kind of a missing piece in most fitness programs, and it's something that we should develop, because just the idea of walking, there is a rotation in the trunk that sometimes is problematic for people because people sit at a desk too much or people train too linearly, right? So if people develop more mobility in the spine, and when I mean the spine, I specifically mean like the thoracic spine, then all movement tends to get better. And in the things that are trending nowadays is there's this thinking that to the extreme, if you practice your gait, or if you develop your gait, if you practice the primary movements of your body, which is like running and maybe throwing, whatever we call longevity or health in the system of the body is optimized. So that's, I think, what's trending and people want to learn more about. And there's the fascia component. If I could start to talk about the fascia, that's really important. What I've learned through my research online is that there is such a thing as fascia, which is kind of the envelope or the connective tissue that encompasses the whole body. And again, the paradigm shift about the fascia is that primarily before we were thinking that the bones holds the body up, but now the new paradigm shift is that the fascia holds the bones in what we call tensegrity. So the integral tension is what keeps your body upright. And there's different body lines. Whatever we call the posterior chain is what they call in fascia, anatomy, is the superficial back line. So from like the bottom of your foot, your calves, your hamstring, your butt, your back, all the way up to your forehead, that's the superficial back line. You have your superficial front line, right? So your muscle of your pec, your quads, your abs, and your tibialis anterior, all of that. And you have many different lines. And then to come back to the gait stuff, you also have what you call your functional line. And your functional line is the relationship between like your pec and then your quads, right? Because when I'm running, my pec is coming forward and my opposite knee is coming. And then on the opposite end, my glute is activating and my lats is activating there. So there's like kind of an X that works. And I mean, you need to work all the lines, but that line is the line that makes you walk. And it's that line that's the most functional. I guess that's why they call it the functional line. And then a quick segue about that. I saw a TED Talk a long time ago when the guy said that our brain is developed to either like feed itself, so move towards food, or move away from danger. Like if a tiger comes towards you, you run away. So much so that there's been an example where there's not only our brains, but all the brains in nature. There's this like starfish that it starts its life like floating in the sea, and it has its brain, and then it gets like stuck on a rock. And then as soon as it gets stuck on a rock, it starts to eat its brain. Because it's not going to need to move anymore, so it eats its brain. So it's like our brain, to be healthy, and that's a message to everybody that wants to be healthy, you have to move your body. And that's one of the arguments. So I talked about the fascia here and there, and the last thing I want to talk about around the fascia is that there's many different lines, but there's also like what I would call the foundation, and I'm still learning. Every day I'm learning about fitness. There's 8 different lines, but the foundational line is what we call the deep front line. And it encompasses your tongue, your diaphragm, and a lot of the muscles around your digestive system, your pelvic floor, and even the other hole, right? And when you gain like deep control of like your tongue or the suction reflex, and then we come back to like the primal movements, is that one of the first movements you do after breathing is you suck on your mother's nipple to be able to be breastfed. And when you develop the proper way to the suction reflex, we call it, then you have like a decent tension around your mouth that has like benefits for the face of the structure of your face, the way you breathe, the way you're able to stay upright, like instead of having a forward head. And when you connect the muscle of the tongue with the muscle of the neck, which you could feel like directly if we do some exercise, and then that's connected to your diaphragm, so you could breathe better, because if your tongue is properly placed or properly strengthened, your nasal cavities like open up, so you could breathe through the nose easily, and you could expand your diaphragm properly. And then if that keeps on connecting down, and you have proper tension around your belly button or your TVA, your transverse abdominis, and then your pelvic floor. A lot of people have back pain because their pelvic floor is weak, or it's obviously because they're weak, but sometimes it's because they can't activate it. They don't sense it, right? And once that awareness is there, then you could strengthen it. It's like if I tell somebody to flex their bicep and they kind of have this, they flex their tricep instead, or they flex their forearm, how do you think they're going to grow their biceps? They don't have that mind-body connection. So if they have that mind-body connection, they could grow the bicep. So if I have mind-body connection to my tongue, my neck muscle, my diaphragm, my pelvic floor, etc., I have good posture. And if I have good posture, I could strengthen the rest of my body. Because if my spine is vulnerable, my body's going to be like, okay, he could squat, 250 pounds, 300 pounds, but I'm going to squat 200 because my foundation is unsafe, my spine is unsafe. Although he has the leg strength to do it, if he's not able to really connect his spine and keep it secure, your body's like not going to want you to do that, so it's going to prevent you from squatting more because it wants to stay safe. And that's one of the primary thing of the body is to stay safe. So,
and this is why I wanted to have you on, because you have immense knowledge.
Yeah.
And I just have like 2 questions for you. First one being like, first of all, I love learning about fitness too. So just listening to you talk is like great, because I get to just be like a sponge and absorb it all in. But this idea and all this holistic approach, primal approach, you're clearly very knowledgeable about it. Was this something that you really dove yourself into after like football and your athletic career, and you really immerse yourself into it? That's one question. And my second one being, if I have no idea about what you're talking about and all this fascia and how to better myself in this kind of holistic approach, how would you, or what would you tell someone, a very, very much beginner, what they could do to help benefit themselves in what you think?
Remind me quickly the first one, because I have an idea.
The first one was, so did you immerse yourself in this knowledge like after your playing career, and was it like kind of something that helped you, you know, because like I'm sure you spent hours and hours studying this stuff.
Yeah, so the way it happened is that when I was playing football, like believe it or not, I wasn't the most like inside of the gym guy. I like to perform with the boys, you know, especially that being in a football team, we'd go in the gym like 4 or 5 guys and we'd challenge ourselves, which was like probably the most productive time of my fitness development. Because nowadays, sometimes I go to the gym and I'm alone, right? So I'm gonna squat, I'm gonna squat heavy, But if I'm squatting with guys that I'm competing to play with, I'm gonna squat like I'm gonna die under the bar, you know. So it's really where I had the most growth. And that's probably one of the tip right there if you want to get fit, you know, and like not specifically find a training buddy. That's probably find a knowledgeable training buddy. Added bonus. But then, I wasn't like as conscious of like the details of fitness when I was training in my football career. But after, I really immersed myself in it just by, I guess, just because I had more time, and because I wasn't playing anymore, and it was mostly what I did of my time, like being in my body and being fitter. I still had a bit of vanity in myself. I wanted to get stronger, a bit of maybe even sexier or something. But as I started my career as a coach, and I could use that to maybe guide you guys around how I gathered my knowledge, I started in the CrossFit world, which it was also the gateway to what we call holistic fitness, and I could give my definition of that very soon, is that in CrossFit, they call themselves like something like functional movement at high intensity. There's this definition somewhere. And they also talk a lot about eating well. So like eating the paleo diet, which is technically in simple terms, not too much sugar, you know, or eat like it's paleo for Paleolithic, so eat like a caveman, right? Eat no processed food, very low sugar, maybe fruits, and no grains and stuff like that. So because CrossFit is so intense, if you don't fuel yourself properly, you kind of die on the workout gym or on the workout floor. So that's the beginning of holistic fitness, is that you can't just be like a jock in the gym lifting weights like a maniac and then eating pizza and stuff like that. You have to understand what's in your plate. And holistic for me is that it's whole, right? It's the whole thing. It's mental health for me, nutritional health, like sleep hygiene, emotional health, even spiritual health to some extent. And spiritual health, just to make it simple, is like, why? Like, what's your purpose? Are you just training to be like a bodybuilder? Fine, that's your thing. That's kind of your spiritual, that's your ethos, right? Or are you training to become a pro player? Are you training to impress girls? It doesn't matter what it is, but what's your why? And is it strong enough to make you wake up at 5 a.m. to reach those goals, or to cut the carbs when you need to cut the carbs, or to bulk when you need to bulk? So that's the spiritual health part. So like I said, CrossFit is where I started. That's where I got most of my knowledge. That's where I got my knowledge of like the basic lifts. Not only like squats and stuff, but also Olympic lift. I dove into that because not only me practicing it, you know, as an avid fitness guy, I wanted to coach people and I wanted to keep people safe. And at the same time, no offense to the CrossFit people, that's why I stepped out of it, because I believe, with no offense against the CrossFit people, that the barbell is like a max effort tool. It's not a tool that you should snatch a lot of time. I feel that a lot of people get injured that way, and it's because like it's not the wrong tool for that. It's the wrong tool to do repetitions. If you want to do a lot of repetition, use a kettlebell. Kettlebell is made for that. Kettlebells are made to snatch. That's the kettlebell competition is 200 reps. No, it's not 200 reps. It's 10 minutes. Do the max reps you can, you know, and the top guys, they get 200 plus reps. And that's what it's made for. The barbell is powerlifting. How much can you squat? How much could you deadlift? Or in the Olympics, how much could you snatch? How much you clean and jerk? That's what it's made for. I don't think it's made for multiple reps overhead. Although all the CrossFit guys are super jacked, super fit. They're not the best athlete in my mind, because I don't know how they would do in jiu-jitsu and soccer or even football, but they're super fit. So CrossFit was my first thing. I gravitated more to kettlebells and then gymnastic ring. So I studied that after studying the basics of CrossFit. And I really got into like the primal stuff because I was doing jiu-jitsu. So like what a lot of people call movement training now. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Ido Portal, which was a good influence for me when I was starting. He's like this Israeli guy that developed like a lot of crawling movement. He was more from capoeira, which is still a floor-based martial art. And I really like this stuff. To this day, like I fall on the stuff again. And it's all about movement. That philosophy in movement training is more about how complex can you move. It's not so much how heavy can you squat, although he squats. He's like, can you juggle? Can you walk on your hands? Can you like crawl on the ground and do crazy transitions? And that was really appealing to me. So as I was transitioning away from CrossFit, I did a little bit of that. And then I also, after kettlebells, I went into maces. So maces is like clubs. Like you have clubs and then also like a long metal piece with a weight at the end. It's good for the shoulders. Essentially it's warrior training. Like the Greeks used to use that when they would get ready for war and stuff. The Persian have a big culture that they call the Palavani, that they do training with that. So I dove into that. And then eventually I went into the 3D, the fascia thing, which is super trending, and what they call biomechanics, so running and stuff like that. And that brought me back to like the athletic training, like soccer stuff, and stuff that I will definitely share more and more with you.
That's sick. I mean, like the fact that you know all that, like to me, it kind of like inspires me to be like, okay, yes, I know a lot about fitness, but I don't know this much about fitness, you know?
But I'm just older, you know, so
Yeah.
I've just been around a little more, and it's a passion. Like I said, something I wanted to say is like in my life, like I did football, and because I was bigger, I was a bouncer for a while, and I was a trainer. It's like the only thing I did. I did odd jobs here and there, but it was the only thing I did. And like I said, I don't want to say my age for no reason, but I'm a little older than you, and so I just have more practice, right? And I fucking love it, you know. So it's easier, you know. Sometimes people, they have a lot of experience in something they don't like.
Yeah.
I love this shit. I love to move. I want to move till I'm the day I die, you know. So that's also why my movement philosophy changed, in the sense that I wanted to move in a way that could keep me going forever. And it's not that I think that CrossFit is bad, but I felt that if I myself personally would only do CrossFit, I wouldn't be able to move as long as I can. I maybe want to answer your question, the second question, which is a little bit hard, like tips for people that want to try or learn more.
Let's say I have no idea about what, like, I have a little bit of knowledge just because like I'm in the fitness world, but for someone who's coming into the fitness world, how would you, how would you train them, and like what kind of movements would you make them do? What would you make them like base their diet around? Just like.
Well, that could bring, I'm gonna shamelessly plug my brand, the Grindful Fitness. It's like I have a system where my name on Instagram is Max 5 Powers, because I think there's 5 powers in what I would call holistic wellness, but also in movement fitness. Let me start with movement, in the sense that I think at the beginning, you need to think about like mobility and posture, what we could call like primal fitness, like the beginning stuff. So not only are we thinking about breathing and the tongue stuff that I talked about, and the diaphragm breathing, and the connection with the pelvic floor, which like stabilizes your spine, we should also think a little bit about foot development and how the mobility of your toes could influence everything upstream. Some people have shoulder pain because their like big toe is jammed. And once you understand that, you start to develop what I like to call sapien fitness, which is like Homo sapien, like how to walk and be upright, stand properly, and just be able to jump, maybe hang, and stuff like that. After that, you have like how to be able to move weight. So whether a basic deadlift, but also just like a generic like sandbag, which is much more awkward. I also like to play with unconventional load management, which is kettlebells, mace, and stuff like that. Then after that, I think it's important to have, not necessary, but it would be a good add-on to learn how to fight, and not so much like to break people's faces, but just have an idea of how to strike, obviously how to do a little bit of grappling or jiu-jitsu. And then lastly is, I like to call it flow, but in most people it makes sense as dancing. Like, can you incorporate rhythm into all the other aspects? Can you like breathe rhythmically, as simple as that? Can you crawl rhythmically? Can you like change the flow and coordinate yourself better? So essentially like the flow part, or the last part, is coordination. So we have primal movement, sapient movement, load management, or learn how to move weights, and then a little bit of martial arts, and finally flow. Can you flow? All the four previous things, can you coordinate? Can you improvise? Right? So you could be like the best soccer player, running fast, shooting the goal, but what can you do in the game? Can you react? Can you see the field? Can you do the pass at the right time? That's what I would call flow. And that's something that not only like physical, it also has to do with like your sensitivity. And then in holistic wellness, so yeah, I think I mentioned it before, but there was kind of blanking out here.
I just want to say that I made it one of my purpose to do like one of your workouts before, like coming on this podcast. So like I signed up to that.
Yeah, the primal thing?
The primal like program, or what's it called exactly? Is it
Primal Movement Reset?
So I signed up, and you gave like me like a free like
Program,
kind of a program, and I did like one of the workouts, and you had me like on my basement floor like doing like I feel like I'm a coordinated person.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, like I have to crawl and like twist, and it was honestly fun. I was doing it on the hard floor, so I was like, damn, my back.
Oh, okay.
So I needed like a mat, but it was like, it was cool. So I want to try to do more of them moving forward.
And that's essentially like the primal stuff. And that's what I realized, because I also coach jiu-jitsu, and sometimes I have athletes that come around, and obviously like athletes have an edge in any sports, but just the fact that we're so used to standing up, we're not as used to crawling on the ground. So that's what I think. It's not necessarily vital, but it's important to be able to learn how to fall, right? Because it's gonna happen, especially if you play sport. And when you're on the floor, can you learn how to like coordinate to rotate or roll on your back if you need to follow the guy that's running with the ball, and just get back up easily. So that's the main use of primal movements. Yeah. So
if you had to give like, I know on Instagram, a bunch of people see like these guys with their cutting boards, like just eat meat, just eat this.
Oh.
Like, I don't know if that's something you've seen on Instagram. I'm sure you have, all these guys with their cutting boards, or like don't eat any sugar, or don't eat fruits because, not fruits, don't eat vegetables because there's defense mechanisms in them. What is kind of your method with nutrition? And if you had to like tell me, like, or anyone, one of your clients coming in, like, I have no idea about nutrition, what would you tell them? Because I feel like there's just so many things out there, and people just throwing out stuff. I don't know what's right, what's wrong.
Thank you very much, because I had my blank there, but my 5 categories of the holistic fitness is mindset, nutrition, and then movement, and then sleep and recovery, and then finally like community, or like the spiritual stuff I was talking about, or your why, you know. So nutrition. The first thing about nutrition is that everybody's different. I've heard somewhere that sometimes guys could be brothers and they have different like gut system, not only different microbiomes, but different gut system. They, like, let's say you digest like veggies better, and I digest meat better. So maybe it's okay for me to eat more or only meat, but it wouldn't be a good idea, although you'd be my brother. Right? Yeah. So the thing is that I know people want simple answers: be carnivore, be vegan, or be whatever diet's out there. But that's not the case, right? You have to there's tests that you could do. There's coaches that you could find that could help you figure out what's best for you. But I think the best diet out there is local and seasonal. And then on top of that, real food. So obviously, I don't think McDonald's is good for everybody. I don't think Twinkies is good for everybody. I think some people get away with it better than others. I think some people should absolutely not get any of those. And again, some people could get away with it, especially people that like extreme endurance people and have great like digestive system, because they need so much calories, they should like drink a Coke. Yeah. But most people should not. So about food, I think if we go on that, I think first of all, because it's coming to be more and more like winter now, I think eating more meat is better than eating more meat during the summer, simply because in the summer, if we think about the local seasonal thing, there's more fruits available outside. They're ripe, right? They're just growing outside. And in the winter, in the dead of winter, there's no fruits, right? So you should eat, a deer if you can hunt it. Most people can't, but it's a better season to eat food like that. And I just believe that nature is very, very, very well made. That's why I mean local and seasonal, so much so that the veggies that are around us vibrate at a nutrients density that's going to help us heal right now. Like, that's very deep, but the food that grows in the soil that's near you is compatible with the bacteria that could probably like attack you and give you some sort of disease,
Yeah.
So if that food is grown in that same environment that the bacteria is going to attack your body, because you're eating whatever food that's from the ground, organically grown, you're going to have a better chance to fight that bacteria, because they kind of know each other.
Yeah.
They're from the same area.
It's so like cool. I don't know why, like I find that so cool.
And then it's funny, you said something about like they eat the plates and stuff. There's interesting stuff that if you guys want to look into it, there's this guy that wrote this book, The Plant Paradox. And, obviously like a tiger has fangs and teeth and claws to fight you, but plants, they don't, But plants have chemicals. So there's plants that if you eat too much of them, they're going to irritate your gut system. And that's their way to keep their species alive. So there's plants that are more, let's say, destructive for the gut system than others. So in the book, they talk about oxalate, lectins, fiats, other different chemicals that are in foods that if somebody already has like Crohn's disease or has sensitivity.
I have Crohn's disease.
So these foods are not the best for you, and then there's ways to get around them, some ways to cook them that might help you, but there's diets focused on other foods that will be much more healthy, and that's kind of a journey on its own. I mean, I'm interested with health. Movement's my expertise, but I'm interested in health because if I'm healthy, I'm going to move better, I move longer.
Yeah.
But I also, like you probably know, I like to do fasts. I did a fast recently.
What was it? 48 hours?
No, it was more than that. Officially, I don't recommend it for people, especially people that have never done it. But I did like 84 hours or something.
Damn, that's like 3.5 days?
Almost, yeah. I
would disappear if I did that.
I'm doing more and more of them. I've told myself, I think this summer, that I would try to do a 3-day fast, 48 to 3-day fast every month. And a 3-day fast nowadays is not that hard for me because I've been doing intermittent fastings for the past 10 years, right? On and off. I haven't done it religiously, but when I started like back in 2014, I probably done like 2 to 4 years, like 10 to 8, right? My first meal was at 10 and my last meal was at 8 every day.
Yeah.
Obviously on the weekend sometimes I would cheat, but like 5 days out of the week, it was that. And then eventually I tried longer fasts, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. The max I did was 5. I don't think 5 is good for me because I didn't feel that great.
Yeah.
Except the first one. The first one I felt like magical. It's magical in the sense that like, how the hell am I surviving? And not only surviving, like I have loads of energy. Like,
yeah.
It's 5 days, no food came to my mouth, and I'm buzzing like I could go. But at the same time, I'm talking about caveman stuff and CrossFit. The body is well made, right? So after 3 days, your body gets into survival mode. So much so that I was talking about with a client today, that after 3 days, I smell better. I see like the colors are more vibrant, and I almost want to tell you that I see further. And that's kind of a mechanism of defense where if you're a caveman and it's been 3 days hunting,
you gotta see the food.
yeah, like seriously, and like you smell it better.
That's crazy.
A little bit more on edge, right? So you hear stuff and you're a little bit more like ready because your body's like survival mode. I need to get food. I need to have a profitable hunt here. So there's benefits in that, and I personally do it because I feel my mind so sharp after my willpower. Just because I've told myself I'm not going to eat for that amount of time, I've done it. It's like, oh shit, I could do something that most people are like, oh wow, you fasted for 2 days, and it's cool. And another, I want to say, scientific fact about fasting is that independent of species, so I mean like from worms to mice to other types of animals, if we have a lower calorie count over our lifespan, we live longer. And a lot of people that live a long time, they have fasting rituals. A lot of religious faiths, they have fasting protocols, which is good for faith, just because you have more willpower. If you have more willpower of not eating, you could have more will towards whoever you pray to. And it's just great. And then also just physiologically, when you give your digestive system a rest, it kind of repairs itself. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend people play around with fasting, start with a half day. A full day, I think it's no problem if people have the willpower and they don't like feel like they're fainting. I think anybody that doesn't have any disease, they could try 24 hours. Not a doctor, but I think it's something people could play around. Yeah. And if you are your best coach, man. Like if it feels good to you, it feels good to you. If it feels good to you to run. If it feels good to you to lift weight. And in the end, nobody's inside your body. You know, nobody really feels what you feel. So if it makes you feel better, makes you feel stronger, makes you feel like more focused, why not? So
yeah, I've never actively said okay, I'm gonna do a 24-hour fast, but recently, for example, let's say I start work at 8 or something. Mm-hmm. I would just okay, I'm not I would wake up 7, go to work, and I'm okay, I have to work from 8 to 1. I just wouldn't eat. I'd be yeah, I'm just gonna accept that I'm not gonna eat breakfast. And then I'd be hungry around 9, and then it would go away, and it'd be 1. I'm I'm not even hungry. I'd be let me just wait till supper now, and then I realized, oh, I fasted almost 20 hours, and I felt good. And I've had in the past struggles with my relationship with food, especially with Crohn's, because I've always had to tinker my diet and figure out what works for me, what doesn't. And just at times my relationship with food wasn't the best. And I find that for the majority of my life, I was hey, this time I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna have to eat my breakfast, I have to eat my lunch. And you're always kind of thinking about food. But when I know oh, I'm gonna work in the morning and I can't eat breakfast, I won't have time. Yeah. I kind of just forget about food and I live my life. So I don't know if this is a positive of fasting, but it's kind of had a better relationship with food on the days where I'm I just can't eat, so I'm just gonna fast for a little bit, and then when I get hungry, when I get home, I'll just eat.
It's funny, if I could share something about being hungry, is that there is such a thing as craving, and then there's real hunger. I have a little program that I get my clients to do, or a couple of videos, and there's one of the videos I talk about that, where when we say craving, I want to say that it's your microbiome that's hungry, not you. Yeah. Just the fact, I said, that you could probably fast, really not necessary for 3 days. Most humans can do that. I'm pretty lean, and I have enough body fat on me to sustain me for at least 3 days, and even more. So most human beings could do that. But the cravings we have, those moments where oh, we're hungry, it's the bacteria that we have in our body. We have more bacteria in our body than human cells. So, and we have good bacteria, bad bacteria, probiotics and stuff like that, right? So if there's an imbalance, what they call gut dysbiosis, too much of the bad bacteria, you're gonna have craving. It's gonna be impossible for you to not, impossible. It's gonna be very hard for you not to eat, not only the bad stuff, but just not to eat, because the bacteria in your body are gonna be oh, I want food, I want sugar specifically. And they're gonna make you feel bad. Not only hunger, you're gonna feel irritable, you're gonna feel tired. They're really gonna change your biology fully. So to do your best to manage your gut bacteria, fasting can help because some of those bacteria will die. Eating fermented foods or probiotics would help.
Yeah.
Eating fiber would promote the good bacteria and stuff like that. So there's many different ways. And so hunger is a real thing, but then craving might not be yours, you know? And that's something people forget about nutrition. There is such a thing as diet, but there's also gut health. And a little tip, you know, we talked about, I didn't give the tips about movement and fascia yet, but about gut health, especially now because it's the winter, it's very good to implement a little bit of collagen or bone broth. Bone broth has its own trend, just because bone broth has collagen in it, and collagen is a protein that helps heal the gut, right? And it's also good for sleep, so you could get bone broth at night. It's the glycine in it, which is like a specific amino acid in the collagen protein. That's very good for that.
That's funny because I used to buy bone broth at Costco in the States when I lived in Vermont. And then my boys would come over and they're like, oh, what are you drinking? I'm like, bone broth. They're like, gross. Like, let me try it. And then they would be like, oh, bro, it's disgusting. I'm like, have it a few times. It's super good for you.
And it's extra protein, good protein, good for skin. The girl's probably gonna like that.
Yeah.
Good for hair. So a lot of those underrated stuff people don't know. You know, it's because I mean I could talk for hours and I love it so much, but if people are spending a lot of time to advertise McDonald's, it's because it's shit.
Yeah.
If they're spending a lot of time advertising for other stuff, it's because it's shit. Nobody advertises apples. Nobody advertises cucumbers.
Yeah, it speaks for itself.
Because it's and all the foods that are packaged to some extent are somewhat processed. You know, there's better than others. But if the food is just natural, it's probably good for you, and it doesn't need a whole machine of marketing tell you to eat more of it, right?
You're right.
So that's very important to remember, is that nature is your best medicine, from what I understand, from my own experience. And, you know, like we talked about, you mentioned about eating breakfast, lunch, supper. But there was a time where there was a time before bacon, you know? And what I mean by that is there was a time where...
The time before bacon.
Yeah.
BB, before bacon.
But what I mean by that is there's this guy, I don't need to name his name, but he was hired by the meat companies to make people eat more meat. So it's like, let's create bacon and make it the breakfast of America. Yeah. And now people eat eggs and bacon in the morning. But it's marketing machine. I like bacon, you know, I eat it sometimes, so I'm not gonna bash it, but you don't necessarily need to eat bacon because your mom, your dad, your cousin, your friends are eating it. If it doesn't feel good in your gut, don't eat it, man.
Yeah.
And so there's many other things, even like cereals. I mean, I think most people are hip
dessert.
with it.
It's just dessert.
Don't get me started on cereals, brother. Bro.
But cereal is so, like a bowl of cereal, like, it's so good.
But you know, like it's true because it tastes good. But
yeah.
let me tell you something, bro.
It's
like
not good
most
for
of
you.
the cereals that are super colorful with the Lucky Charms and stuff.
It's all terrible.
When you go in the grocery store, they're at the bottom. Who's at the bottom? The kids.
Yeah.
So the kids are like, oh, the colors, the cartoons, can I get a bowl of that? And then they get addicted to sugar,
yeah,
by the way,
bad.
and then grains and stuff like that. And then, but the healthier sugars are on top because that's the adults that they want to be healthy. But it's a scam, bro.
I know.
And so many colors, like Lucky Charms, it's a cartoon. It's Coco Melon in a box.
Yeah.
You know, and you know when you say, no offense to you or anybody else, but when you say it's so good, it's because I have it too. I have that memories of watching cartoons with my bowl of cereals with milk in the morning and watching TV, and it's the best time of the year, like the day, Saturday mornings, bowl of breakfast and whatever show I like to like. And then we create an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the craving as well, whether it's sugar. And that's the thing about sugar, like, don't get me wrong, I'm in it too. But like when you're a kid, you win something at school, you have a good soccer game, you get ice cream.
And nobody knew, like, for example, my parents did not know any better. I was eating Nutella for breakfast. They just wanted me to eat.
Yeah.
What do you want to eat? Nutella for dinner?
They want the best for you. They want to feed you the best way they can. But then not only do you get, like, I don't know, extra ice cream if you score 2 goals in a soccer game, like if you're a little older and you're sad because your girlfriend left you when you're like, I don't know, 12-year-old kid, they bring you to eat cake or they bring you to your favorite restaurant with sugary desserts.
Yeah.
So sugar is there to pick you up when you're sad and to congratulate you when you did something good. So sugar is the shit all the time. and it rewires your brain. And when I talk about like mindset and stuff like that in my 5 categories of holistic wellness, is that we need to understand these things. It's not about becoming a ketogenic monster that doesn't eat sugar ever. It's just understand that your brain works like that, and then the dopamine rush that comes with sugar, and what does that in your brain. And then from you have that mindset that there's a marketing machine behind it, that sugar does this in your brain, I'm more aware of the choice I make now.
Yeah.
And I'm more aware that that craving that I want might not be mine. Maybe it's my gut bacteria. And are you a bitch, right? Are you like somebody that's controlled by the media, controlled by maybe the gut in your stomach? Or are you someone that wants the best for you? Do you love yourself enough to make the healthy choice? It's not easy. Like, I did that fast. It's not easy, man. I was hungry a couple times. But then when I get that hunger, it's like, I'm cleaning my body.
Yeah.
Like, I know that my bacteria wants something, but I'm cleaning my body. And I told myself I can't do that. I love myself enough to do that. I sincerely believe it's good. Maybe not 84 hours, but 72 hours, because I've been doing it. I sincerely believe it's good. And I'm gonna do it. Talking about people that do it for a long time, there's a girl at my mom's work. Mm-hmm. Her mother, which is like 97 or something, she does 3-day fast every month. She's like a Japanese woman that does that since God knows when.
Yeah.
So these practices have been there and been going on for a long time. And if we talk about longevity, there's a nice documentary on Netflix. It talks about the Blue Zone. I don't remember the name, but all these little things about eating fibrous foods, moving, not training hardcore, but just like having a daily practice and being like mobile or taking care of your fascia, makes me think I could give you the tip about the fascia. So jumping from the food back to the fascia. Taking care of a fascia is like, foam rolling is underrated. I think people that...
You think it's underrated?
Yeah.
Because I low-key think it's overrated. Just like in a sense of for recovery and like athlete purposes, for my body, I was like, foam rolling just does nothing for me. I rather like stretch and do like lengthening while strengthening my muscles. So maybe, obviously, I don't know much about fascia, but for me as an athlete, I found it a little bit overrated.
I think there's ways to do it well. I think I said foam rolling, but I should say myofascial release.
Okay.
And myofascial release is slightly different than foam rolling. I use the term foam rolling because people understand the foam rolling thing. But foam rolling, maybe except for the back or the lats, it's not the best tool. It's better to have those balls.
Like lacrosse balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's also like foam rolling or myofascial release, MFR is probably boring. That's why most athletes don't love it, because let's do something,
Yeah.
And the best way to do it is just put it in a trigger point or put it in the muscle belly and just wait.
Yeah.
Like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, breathe, and feel the muscle kind of melting, and then you lengthen. I think that's the best way. And it's called MFR, but some people also refer it to rehydrating the muscle. And then, not to get too sciencey about what I've researched, is that in the collagen matrix or in the fascia, we hold like plasma, or what we call hydration. So it's the 4th phase of water. There's ice, there's vapor, and then there's actual liquid water. And then there's plasma, which is more like a gel. So inside the soft tissue, the tendons and the continuing fascia that's between the muscles and stuff, you have that kind of a gel between that net that holds the bones up, like I was saying before. And then sometimes, because we sit a long time, the fascia is going to get misaligned. Because compared to like other structures in the body, the fascia kind of rearranges itself, like I think every 15 minutes. Don't quote me on that. So we've been sitting for more than 15 minutes. So our fascia is realigning itself so we can be better at sitting. Therefore, it's in not the optimal alignment to be better at walking afterwards. So, and that's where the water gets stuck, or the plasma gets stuck a little bit. So if I want to do a proper warm-up, and I know I've been sitting before, I was in the bus for a long hour trip before my soccer practice, whatever, I take a minute and a half, 2 minutes per sections that are going to be used. I sit, I take my time, I breathe, I let the fascia rearrange itself, I lengthen with some dynamic stretching, and then it's optimized. So as tips for fascia and stuff is learn a little bit about myofascial release, learn about dynamic stretching, and then also kind of the basis of breathing. And if you match those three, at the minimum, if somebody really doesn't like movement, if they do that, they're gonna keep their body kind of youthful, you know? Because an old body is a dried up body. And if we rehydrate by not only drinking quality water, but also kind of letting the plasma change itself, or realigning the fascia, or again, like let that plasma change instead of being stuck in a position that it was in for too long, whether it's from being stressed or sitting, then I think we keep the body young. I think that's simple enough, I think, tip about fascia.
And I think one thing about like your Grindful brand and the holistic approach is that I think anyone could do it and not be like intimidated about it. I think a lot of people who aren't into fitness are intimidated by going to the gym and having to lift heavy weights and all that. But I think your approach and your idea of just moving the body, moving it, putting it in situations where you can be stronger, and let's say in your everyday life, if you slip on ice in a vulnerable position, your body you put yourself in those positions and it could adapt and be ready for those vulnerable those situations like that. I think that's very much less intimidating, and people will want to gravitate towards that because you're also not saying go to the gym and just pump out weight. You're saying move your body a little bit, focus on rest and recovery, focus on like myofascial release, things like that, where I honestly think it's super powerful, and it could really empower people to take a different approach towards fitness rather than the normalized one of just going to the gym for an hour, pump out some iron, get your protein, drink protein shakes and all that.
Because I think, you know, a lot of stuff about like the marketing of fitness is like Sidney Crosby on an ad before the NHL playoff. Of course, he's like maximum intensity. He wants to win the Stanley Cup. And whoever else, LeBron James, Serena Williams, whoever we see on TV as like the gods of fitness, they're like at the peak, you know? So you see them not only at the peak because there's the pros, but at the peak of the peak, you know, you see Serena before Wimbledon, you see LeBron James before the NBA Finals, and you see something on TV that's like, I need to go super hard. First, you're not them. And then second, they're peaking. There's times in their off season that they're doing other stuff. So there's that. And then there's also like, everybody needs to move. Not everybody needs to train. You know, movement, everybody has a body. Everybody needs to go from A to Z, from your house to your car to your work, and whatever else. So you need to practice different things, like having a youthful or pliable, mobile body. And then to come back to Grindful, it's like embrace the grind if you have a goal that needs the grind, but remain mindful. That's the Grindful thing. And it's also, if you're a super mindful yogi that never does a push-up, I think you're not doing the right thing either, you know? You need to embrace the grind a little bit. You should maybe squats once a week or something. So I think there's a balance, and that's all came from me not only doing jiu-jitsu, but I do a little bit of Tai Chi as well. And the yin-yang part of like, I'm sure everybody has seen the yin-yang logo. It's like those weird like kind of half circle, but like not with a straight line. But there's, the right part, the white part, and the black part. But within the white part, there's a black dot. And within the black part, there's a white dot. Did I say it right?
I think so.
So like, if you want to be yang or be productive, you need at least a little bit of rest, or you need to balance that rest with at least, like, let's say 10% of myofascial release, meditation, visualization, or whatever it is. You can't be go all the time. You're going to burn out. Even at work, like people that are not athletes, you can't work all the time. You hit like a point where you burn out. So you need to have a little bit of balance. You need to puiser. You need to go into the well of the yin to be able to really maximize your yang. And that's the grind, the yang, and then the mindful, the yin. And I think the balance is the ultimate gift of life. You know, even if we go more into philosophical things, is that we're all gonna have breakups, we're all gonna maybe lose a job, we're all maybe gonna lose some money, we're all gonna maybe have an injury or whatever. But like, it's part of the thing, you know, it's part of the thing we call life. if we learn to embrace and be like, okay, I'm in a lower moment, it's only because it's going to bring me to another moment of joy, and it's just I accept the ups and downs, then I'm more zen, and I'm more resilient over time, and I don't get invested in all the loss as if it's the end of the world, and I'm just much more ready to accept the wins when they come. And that's the Grindful philosophy in terms of like, not to be too woo about it, but the spiritual part that I talk about, it could be philosophical, and it's just that accept the ups and downs in life, and everything else is going to be better. You're going to sleep better. You're probably going to move better. You're probably going to eat better because you understand that you're going to have cravings and stuff like that. And it's okay to have a Snickers bar here and there if it's not 90% of your diet.
Yeah.
And then your mindset is much more stable because you know that, I'm going to win one day, but let me remain humble because I know that 2-3 games down the line, I might lose. So I'm not going to shove it in my opponent's face that I won. I'm going to be thank you for the great, competition. And then maybe it's going to be yours next time. But I'm ready to give my 100% and not let you have it. And
I think that ties well, like everything back together into like transitioning from a pro, like trying to be a pro athlete to like going into a different part of a career. And for me, just not even accepting like it as a loss. Yes, I maybe didn't accomplish what I set out to accomplish, and I'm not the only one let's face it, most athletes don't accomplish being professional athletes. And just realizing that there's a balance to life and take the good with the bad. And if I really look back on it, like the memories that I have playing soccer are the best memories of my life. So why should I look back on it and be like, it was all for nothing. It was it was honestly all for something. I'm here because I don't think I'd be sitting here right now talking to you and having this great conversation if it wasn't for soccer. So soccer has brought me to a certain point in my life where I'm genuinely actually happy. The only part that I'm sad here and there is because I wish I was playing soccer professionally. But I think being grindful and maybe tapping into that a little bit in what you spoke about and having those 5 approaches and aspects to my life will slowly just let me go and lead me down the path that maybe I should be on. And
if I could add to that is that what if, all your experiences were for you to either be a mentor or the coach of a very successful person, and the ultimate wins that you were hoping are going to be lived through somebody else. That's a possibility. And then it's also, that's what I wanted to say, is that some of us that have harder times to transition, I had moments where I was like, fuck, man, never going to be like that guy on TV I wanted to be like, and it's lourd, it's heavy. But we have to realize that sometimes it's not our fault, Like a lot of guys that we see on TV, some of them are not as good as us, but they just had the chances, the opportunities, the mentors, the looks that we never had. Although we're like 2% better, but we didn't have that scout to come to our practice out that day.
And that's what makes it so hard to accept sometimes, knowing that you could have been that person.
What I'm trying to share, and I fully agree with you, is that some of it is not up to you, in the sense that you did your best, and that's the only thing you control. I think you did your best, and that's the only thing that anybody can control. Anybody that's still on that path is that try your hardest, and some of it, not to get too religious, but it's up to God or up to the circumstances of life, the physics of how the world works, which I don't fully understand. But you could be a better player than a guy that's on TV, but he was there that day and the scout was in front of him and he got not only the look, but then he got the training after in that higher school or that higher this or higher that. And for some reason, that coach that he was playing for liked him because that guy looked like his son or looked like his nephew. And just because he looked like his nephew, he had a little bit of favoritism and he got more playing time, more practice, Then he got the same percentage as good as you, and then he got another chance, and then eventually he got better of you, but not because he is better than you, just because his path was different. And that's maybe why you are where you are, because you're gonna be that guy that's gonna give the look to a guy like you.
Yeah.
You know? And then one day you're in a position where you're older, you have connection, and you see the guys like, yo, that guy's like me, man. That silent, captain that leads by example, that's not yet learning how to use his voice the way he can. And I see it, you give him 2-3 motivations, and then he uses that voice, and he has that presence, and then not only your connection, but the other, meetings that he has in his life, and he wins. And then you're sitting on your couch one day, I don't know, Barça, I don't know what's your team or whatever, Real Madrid or something, and you're watching and you see that guy on TV and like, even if it's 1%, I was there.
Yeah.
And it's your success too. And it's heavy because we want the cup in our hands, but we don't control everything.
I think we could talk for hours on end, and I think this is a good positive way to end our conversation.
Fun, super fun.
And if there's anything that you want to plug, not shamelessly now, you could go ahead.
Yeah, you just follow me on Max5Power Instagram, if you feel a connection or a vibe with the Grindful philosophy and you want to work with me, let's link up. And all the best to you. Don't forget that, there's the yin, there's the yang, and there's none that's better than the other. And try to accept and flow with the waves, period.
And I'd love to have another conversation like this in the future.
Super down.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Awesome.
It was fun, bro.